Welcome to Doorway to the Paintings. Good evening, and it's a little different tonight. I thought I'd show you a quick little painting here. I'm just going to do a fast one. Well, kind of quick. I don't know if I'm going to do it really that fast or quick, but just to show you some of the techniques I use in my paintings. I'm using just acrylic paints. That's all I pretty much use is acrylic paints. I'm going to do just a simple little painting here, kind of a blue, dark background, kind of a bluish, maybe like a bluish white background, but make it a little dark, like it could be early in the morning, and it'll have maybe a little bit of a bright spot here, just a little bit, and then I'll put a dark tree in front of it, just to give you an idea on some of the techniques that I use. I think this is just probably a one-time video, because I enjoy doing my other videos the way I do them, talking about the paintings and the characters that I've created, and just explaining how the inspirations came to me and the ideas came to me. I like doing that, so this might be just a one-time video, but I got some blue and white here, and I'm going to, and by the way, I'm right-handed. I'm not left-handed. This is another dimension. So I'm actually right-handed. It looks like I'm going to be painting with my left hand, but it's actually my right hand. And the reason for that is I do all my videos on a smartphone. And I got it set up in a certain mode now so I can just see everything and see if I got the right angle, so you can see the painting, so you can see me. I don't have fancy equipment. I just have a smartphone, so I'm actually painting with my right hand. It looks like my left, I know, but I'm actually painting with my right. It's just, I know you can put it in another mode. I know that, but if I do, then I can't see everything at once and how the video is turning out. But yeah, I just want to show you some of the techniques, and I use a spray bottle so I can thin my paint out. I don't have to, when you have acrylic paints or watercolors, you don't have to spend money on paint thinner. A lot of people use oil paints. I just use acrylic, maybe watercolor sometimes, but mostly it's just acrylic. And you can just mix water with it, make your paint thin without spending money on a paint thinner. And I'm going to use some of this to thin out some of the paint, and just do a simple little painting here. And here's my very expensive palette, cardboard. I figured if you're going to throw it out, might as well put it to good use before you recycle it or throw it out. So I'm just going to go like this. I usually don't paint here. I usually paint with a chair, so it's more comfortable. This is not the most comfortable situation. I just decided to do this video. I just put everything together real quick. I'm going to use a little bit more of this paint, the blue. Then I'll put some white too. And I'm going to use a little bit of this paper towel to clean up some of the paint on the tube itself. That way it doesn't get too sticky and the lid sticks and doesn't get too messy. And I'm going to put a little of this white on the cardboard. I want the background to be dark, so it looks like it's early morning where it's still dark. It's late at night or early morning like it's still dark. But I want it light enough so the tree that I'll put on here eventually will stand out. Kind of mix them up here a little bit. Make my bluish background. I really like blue. I really do. And I think I'll add a little bit more water because want it to go on there a little bit smoother, a little bit easier. And one thing about my philosophy in painting is that I just want to make sure everything's at the right angle, but fix the microphone. I'm not even using a microphone. These are headphones that came with the phone, with the smartphone. These are headphones, so everything is low tech. I know a lot of people spend a lot of money on equipment, and nothing wrong with that. If you can make your videos better and get the fancy equipment and then the new cameras and microphones. I don't even have a microphone. I'm using headphones as a microphone. So I want to make sure the focus is okay. So yeah, all my videos I've done is just with a smartphone. So it's kind of... But when I watched different videos on YouTube of different people doing their videos, and then later they stepped up to better cameras and everything, I still enjoyed the videos, and sometimes they're better. But you know, looking back, it was the content. They had good content, and I really enjoyed their videos anyway. And the new camera and the new editing and the stuff they did with it, playing with it, it didn't make me enjoy it anymore. In fact, I actually enjoyed it when it was a little bit more low-tech and primitive. Why? It had a charm to it, and the average man can relate to it more, and it kind of made it more fun. For me, I could relate to it more, being a low-tech guy myself. But I'm partially joking, but no, I actually thought there was a charm to it, and it's the content people are looking for, and if they enjoy that, it doesn't have to be that high-tech. In fact, it was pretty charming without it. Go over here. This wasn't there. Let me just make this blue kind of background. Have a little bit more, add a little bit more paint. I'm using brushes I've never used before. And that's because, I don't know, I can't find my normal brushes. My wife and I put my brushes and then a whole bunch of other stuff in some boxes. And I don't know where those brushes are. I think my wife put them somewhere. I didn't. And so I have to use these. And my wife actually bought me the smartphone, and you know, I was resistant to it. I didn't want a smartphone because I was always paranoid about, you know, hacking, and I didn't want to be hacked, and I figured, gee, I just don't want it. I was a little paranoid about it. Now it turned out to be a blessing. That's what got me onto YouTube. And I always had reservations about having a YouTube channel. I didn't want one because I was a little paranoid. I'm a very private, reclusive person, as a lot of artists are. I never wanted to be on YouTube, but the reason I am is because it'd be a shame if only a few people saw my paintings. Well, I mean, there's been quite a few people that have seen my paintings in private and in my personal life, but I like my paintings so much that I wanted more people to see them. That's the main reason I'm on YouTube. I don't know if I'll ever sell them over the internet or through my channel. I don't know if I'll ever do that. That was never the idea. My idea was just to share them and show people. And because I like my paintings so much, I'd feel bad if more people didn't see them. But my philosophy with painting is that I like to use a combination of realism and impressionism. in my paintings. And most of the time, I would say it's a combination of both. Sometimes it's one more than the other. I like Impressionism. I like reality. But I don't like painting paintings that are so realistic that they look like a photograph. I've done that before, and they looked almost like a photograph, not exactly, but I don't want to be that kind of artist. I figured you might as well have just taken a photograph, and instead of doing all that work and taking all that time. I was drained afterwards, and I figured just take a photograph. And not only that, but I don't want to be that kind of artist. The kind of artist that I want to be is someone who uses Impressionism and reality, because with Impressionism you can create more, you can be an inventor. But with reality, when you're painting reality and trying to make it look like real life, it's talented and skilled, but there's not much creativity, there's not much invention to create something. That's what I like to do. So that's why I don't want to make my paintings look exactly like real life, because you're just copying. Invent your own stuff. Make things, create, rather than copying what is. That's my philosophy. But to those who do that, good for them. They have great talent. But I don't want to be that kind of painter. Don't want to be that kind of artist. I like to create, use Impressionism, invent. I've seen paintings that are very, very impressionable, but they were not stylistic. They didn't have much character. And I've seen realistic paintings that were good. They were well done, but boring because they didn't have style and character. So I try to use a combination of both. Really try to use a combination of both. I'm going to add a little bit more white to this painting, so when I put my tree in there, there's a better contrast later when I put the tree. Normally I don't paint like this. I just rig this up real quick. Were you expecting a cave with mist and trees and subterranean world with skulls and props? That's not really the kind of guy I am. I actually like the quiet. And I do like the storybook paintings. I like to stimulate my imagination. And I really like to invent, and I like a good scary story. I like a good scary idea or a good scary story, and then have a character, a hero to crush the evil at the end. And I'm old school when it comes to that. This is not a Gromus painting. This is just a simple tree. There's no zombies in here, or castles, or giants. Those are some of my favorite paintings to do, by the way. But this is just going to be a simple painting, so you get some of the techniques I use. I'm going to put a little grass, a little land here on the bottom. Put a little grass, a little land on the bottom. Again, for those who might be just watching me right now and tuning in, I'm not left-handed, I'm right-handed. I'm using a smartphone, and you're getting just the opposite angle from what it is in real life. I'm actually painting with my right hand. So here's a little land here. And I'll keep it a little misty. Hope that's a good angle. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I don't want there to be a shine from the light so you can't see it, but here I'll leave it a little misty because it gives it depth, it gives it distance, it gives it the look of distance. And then if you want a little hill, just kind of rub your brush into the canvas like this. Go like that, and you can have kind of a hilly background in the distance. You can make it higher too, so it looks like it's in the distance because it's not too thick. And then I'll put some grass in here that looks like it's a little closer. Actually, I'll put grass right here, and it'll look very close. Some reason. There, let me see if that works. So I'll put a little grass with my paint, and I think I'll add a little water to this black so it'll thin the paint a little bit and make the grass look the way I want it more. Have the grass go down here like there's a little bit of a drop off. And you can put your grass anywhere you want it, like up close here. Whatever kind of grass or foliage that you want. And eventually I'm going to put a dark tree in here. I'm going to make a black tree. I use that in a lot of my paintings, dark trees, because of the contrast. I really like the contrast. Make this grass. You can make the grass come up here if you want to a little bit. You still got a little bit of a hill shape in the background. And I'll take this other brush here, and I don't know what I'm going to do with this painting when I'm done. It'll be just an example painting, just to show you some of the techniques. Let's say you wanted to make some birds flying. You can make some birds flying in the distance, like that. Maybe some birds flying in the distance. Maybe make a bush over here. Kind of coming out. Bush on that right side. I'm painting with my right hand, not my left hand. Everything is like a mirror. Just pretend it's like another dimension, like the Twilight Zone. You're in another dimension, everybody. Nice little bush right there. Waiting for this to dry a little bit so I can put my tree in there. I could pause it right now and wait for it to dry and come back, but why when I can explain some of the philosophy that I have? I'll use this time to maybe talk to you about Impressionism more. Because, you know, Impressionism, not only can you invent and create more, but, you know, the sky's the limit. Your imagination, you're only limited by your imagination. But if you're copying real life, or if you're copying a photograph, and a lot of artists like to do that, I have nothing against that. It's just not the type of artist I want to be. They're very talented. I have all the respect in the world for them. But I get really deep into thought. I sit and I close my eyes sometimes and I think about what I really want to paint. And that's where the creativity happens. Often, not always. It doesn't always happen that way, but it often does. And I invent, I create. Real life inspires me rather than me copying it. It's an inspiration. Movies are inspirations to me. Stories, myths, mythology, certain scenes in certain movies. Let's try that tree. Might be a little bit too early. I would suggest you let it dry first before you do this, but we might get a little unnecessary mixing, but this is just an example painting. I want my tree right there. And before I do more, I'm going to take more of my Mars Black acrylic paint. That way I have plenty of it. Yeah, like acrylics, you can mix water with it. In this case here, if you mix too much water, sometimes you'll get even more of a smear and a mixture when you don't want it. I don't want that here. I want this to just to be mostly black, a black tree. Yeah, I don't know where my other brushes are. I usually have bigger brushes, all kinds of different sizes, but I don't know where they're at. I'm just using these new these new brushes here, and like this here, and got another one here, so doing the best I can with these. But when you know how to paint, you'll adapt to the new brushes, just as long as the brushes are halfway decent. Put a little limb here. There. Common theme in a lot of my paintings is a background that has a little bit of light, and then you put a dark tree on top of it, get the contrast. Sometimes it has a lot of light in the background, some of my paintings. This will be just a basic painting so you could see some of the techniques here. Yeah, I've done all these videos with just a smartphone, and but when I watch some of the other videos on YouTube, some of the programs that I enjoy, they step up and they get better equipment, and I like the earlier stuff they were doing better, and I think it's probably because being a down-to-earth guy, I could just relate to the other stuff more. There was a simple charm to it. I'm not really into all the fancy camera work and the special effects and editing. To me, the content is the most important thing. But I might make a change in the future. Maybe one day I'll get more equipment and a better camera, because it does help if you know how to do it right, and you got a plan, and you utilize it and actually use it the right way. There. Eventually I'll put the leaves on this tree. So you can even make like a little hand coming out. If you wanted to, a little thumb down there, give it some, but I'm gonna put leaves on this one so you can change it anytime you want. I'll show you something here. See, when I go like this, see how it gives kind of a misty effect right here. I've had paintings where I left it that way, and it gave it a mysterious type of dream look. It looked like a dream, so I just kept it this way. I just kept it, and it actually turned out pretty good. And I've done that with quite a few paintings. But for this painting here, for now, I'll just make it more defined, because that's what I'll do in this painting. Maybe later I'll go back to the misty dream type effect there, just so you could see it, because this is just an example painting. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this painting when I'm done. I'm not going to throw it away. I'll keep it somewhere. I just don't know what I'll do with it exactly, but put the leaves on here. If you notice, a lot of painting on TV, a lot of artists are painting daytime scenes. They're awesome. They're great. You can learn a lot from those guys. But a lot of my paintings are nighttime paintings. I noticed recently they're starting to do nighttime paintings on TV. That's a welcome change, I think. I like a variety. I think most of my paintings are nighttime paintings, but I got a lot of daytime paintings too that I haven't really showed a lot of yet on my channel, if at all. But, you know, art can really help you relieve stress, just as long as the place that you're painting in is not a place that stresses you out. You can still get some relief when you're painting, even in a place that you might not like. But it's better to do it in a place where it's relatively quiet and you can concentrate. And if you live in a place that is quiet and peaceful, you're blessed. That's such a blessing. It's a great thing. That is a really good thing. But even if you're not, painting can help relieve some of your stress. And when you paint something that makes you feel good, it's a good counter to any of the stress that you might be going through. It's therapeutic. You can paint anything you want. It's just your own imagination. That's the only limit, is your imagination. And your skill, of course, and the more you improve, the more you can bring those imaginations to life. Why not give this a little foliage? You can make this limb, I can make it a little darker with a little more paint. And then give it some leaves. It's really cool. Really like doing that. See, this is just a tree, simple nature painting. And I'm about to mess it up for people who just want nature. What if I put a zombie in there like some of my other paintings? Just to give you an idea, you can get somebody who's a zombie who's walking like this with their arms outstretched. Kind of the silhouette. The silhouette is so important. Silhouette is so important for paintings. Really gives it a nice effect, that contrast. I use that all the time. See, it's kind of like this, walking like a zombie. Give him a little, maybe a little messed up hair there. There, kind of making the painting a little creepy now. Maybe put another bush over here. But yeah, this video here is probably a one-time thing, because I really enjoy showing off the paintings that I've already done and explaining the inspirations behind them and doing my normal videos. That's what I really enjoy. So I don't know if I'll ever do another one like this. This is just to show you some of the stuff I do here and how I make them. There's another bush. I'm only using, so far I've only used 3 brushes. I've never used these brushes before today. Have to find my other brushes. See, I haven't painted for 8 months. I got burned out. I was doing 2 or 3 paintings a week for a few years. Well, 1 to 3 paintings every week for a few years. I got burned out. Did hundreds of paintings, I think. At least that looks like how many there are over there in that stack. See, let me just take a look at this. See, I'm painting with my right hand, but you see it as my left hand, but it's actually my right. I'm just looking at this to make sure that the view is okay. Just got my simple cell phone, everyone. It gives me a chance to look at it. Looks like I have to fix my mic a little bit. It's not really a mic. It's just the headphones that came with the smartphone. I'm using that as a mic. Yeah, I resisted having a smartphone, but one day my wife came home with the smartphone, and she did a great job, and she's helped me a lot. She is a great person, and she was the one that influenced me to get back into painting. I painted a lot many years ago, and then I just got bored with it and didn't feel like doing it anymore. And then she talked to me about it. And plus, I also got inspired by a lot of movies over the years that I'd seen. Like I've said before, I think Nightmare on Elm Street, Superman, Halloween, and mythologies, Lord of the Rings, ancient Greek myths, and then Norse mythology, and artists on TV, you know, when they painted and did a great job. And I can put another zombie in here. Maybe one over here just standing. This is almost like that one painting. Well, I've done a few like this, where the ancient Greek writer has written a scary masterpiece or a scary story about the zombies that roam the forest at night. This could fall into that category now, since I've changed it and put these characters in here like that. Maybe another one back here too. Maybe he's going in this direction. Like that. But yeah, the painting can really, really bring your ideas to life. It really can. And I'm self-taught. I've never went to school for this. I'm just pretty much self-taught. But I learned to watch, or I learned a lot too from watching other artists paint on TV. And I watch Bob Ross, the great Bob Ross. Just a great painter, great personality. I've never met him, but I mean, I've just watched him on TV like everyone else. And I learned how to do my water by watching him. Everything else pretty much came naturally to me, but he helped me improve my water just by watching his techniques. And what a great painter he was. Great influence. And this can be any shape you want, you know, the face, the nose, the characters here. They can be any way you want them to be. Then you can change it up. Maybe he's got an arm out this way too. Then his torso. See? Or if you wanted to make a scarecrow, you know, you can put a little hat, a little old hat on him like this. Almost looks like a little witch's hat, or it does look like a scarecrow. I'm just showing you some of the techniques. You can actually change your painting too. You can put another bird in like that. You can put another tree over here. Maybe it's a misty tree. You go like this. Put the leaves in, and then make it more like in the distance. A lot of my paintings have a moon. You can put the moon in there, but usually before I do the moon, I would make a brighter spot for it, like this, at the beginning of my painting. You know, let it dry, and then later drop your white moon in there. You can do that too. Put a little white moon in there. Just kind of go like this. Some people don't want their moons to be a perfect circle. They like it a little misty. You can kind of play with the moon. Like that. If you want to make it look a little bit more rounded a little bit, you can do that. Normally, I would make it even a little more brighter in the background before I put the moon in and make it look a little better than that. But this painting is just to give you an idea on some of the techniques I use, and I don't know what I'm going to do with this painting. It's not a bad painting. It kind of falls into that zombie type category, but with the scarecrow in there now, it could be maybe on a creepy type farm or something. But this was a different kind of video for me, and I don't know if it's a one-time thing or not. I think this painting here is a pretty good example of what I do. There's no characters in here except for these three simple ones. This is easy to do. Nature paintings are very easy for me. It's the ones that have so much in them, like the characters with all the detail, and then the background. Maybe there's a brick wall behind a character, so it takes me 3 hours to do it and let certain parts dry. And but the nature ones are pretty easy for me to do. And for those out there who are just learning to paint, just take your time and figure out what kind of artist you want to be. The type of artist I want to be is an impressionist and a person who mixes in reality with it. Some of my paintings, I want it to be more on the impressionable side. Other paintings, I want to be more on the reality side to make it look more realistic. It just depends on what I'm looking for at that time and what type of painting it is. And then someone might say, well, the most realistic painting is the best painting, or those who get the detail right and make everything look exactly like real life or detailed is the best. Some other people might say, no, it's whoever is the most stylistic and has the best character in their painting, or whoever is more impressionable is the best. Well, it's all wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. It's a balance. It depends on what you're looking for, and it depends on what kind of artist you want to be. It depends on what the viewer, what the person who is looking at your art wants. I might be someone who wants impressionism, and that's it. I might be someone who wants reality, and that's it. I try to have that balance because I know that when you have a balance between impressionism and reality, it pretty much suits most people, and it suits me. I'm not an artist to be what other people want me to be. I'm an artist because I want to express myself. I want to be an artist because I can put my thoughts on canvas and bring them to life. It's about balance. Sometimes there is such a thing as too much detail in your painting. When it looks too real and too detailed, sometimes it looks mechanical and it looks dull. When you just splatter paint all over a canvas, to me, that doesn't work either. I know some people like that. Some people, they do their thing and got all the respect for them. But to me, I really like a balance. Sometimes when people get too detailed, it's too busy. It makes your painting look too busy, and it loses a lot of its charm. I've seen paintings where it's all about impressionism, and the way they did the characters it was so interesting. It was much better than any realistic painting that I've ever seen. Not because it was more detailed or the lines were more defined and everything was crisp. No, things weren't crisp. Things were not straight. Things were not defined so well. But it was charming. It was interesting. It was captivating. It was mysterious. I recognize that Impressionism has its assets, so does reality. So I try to do both. And one thing, I think one of the most important things, is that when you look at art, try to find out what you really like and focus on that. Don't try to change your tastes on purpose, but try to go to what you like. Try everything, look at everything with a good critical eye and fair eye, but don't try to be an artist that you're not. Don't try to be somebody that you're not. Like this And in a lot of my paintings, I like them. I like my paintings more than almost any paintings. That's not because I'm arrogant. It's not because I'm prideful. It's not because I'm proud. It's just because I paint my taste. I paint what I want to see, what I think is missing. And I know what satisfies me. I know what I like. I try to bring that to life rather than copying someone else's work. And one of the most important things of anything I've said so far is look at Charlie Brown, look at the Flintstones, look at the Jetsons. If you made those characters exactly like real life, or the Smurfs, if you made them look exactly like real life, you would take the charm, the style, and the character away from those characters. They got so much charm because they're simple and they became iconic. So it's not whoever makes it look more realistic and whoever has more detail. It's a fine balance. It's uniqueness. And it's not just about being different, though, because sometimes, well, I just want to be different. I'm going to make it look different from everyone else's. That could be terrible, but it can also be great. So to me, it's about balance, because if you have character and style mixed in with reality and impressionism, you're on pretty good footing rather than just going from one extreme to the other. That's basically my philosophy with art and with painting. And I hope you liked this video. It was different. It might be a one-time thing. And if you liked it, consider subscribing and hitting the like button and ringing or hitting that bell so you get the notifications. But hope you like this, guys, and I'll try to be back soon with another video. Good night, everybody.